Hello everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Gen Zoidberg, and this is Best 10, where I offer up my favourite games to fit a selected theme. This is the fourth and possibly final part of my Coverdisks mini-series. I'm still trying to decide whether to do a commenters edition from all the discs that viewers have been suggesting in the comments, so please do watch this space. In this video, I'm going to count down my 10 favourite Shareware games that I discovered thanks to magazine Coverdisks. If you don't know what Shareware was, it was a great way for small independent developers to get their work out there by allowing people to play the games first and then send a small donation to the maker. The following 10 games all appeared on magazine Coverdisks, either as a demo or in some cases as the full game itself. As always, this countdown is merely my opinion, and there are probably going to be games that you think I've missed. Please do let me know what they are in the comments. Now though, let's start with my number 10. Let's face it, there is no greater enemy in video games than zombies. The fact that they keep coming no matter how much you shoot them makes them ideal cannon fodder. Zombie Apocalypse from Vision Software is a mouse-controlled crosshair shooter that harks back to a simpler time when games like Operation Wolf ruled the arcades. It requires nothing more from the player than aiming and shooting, and provides a constant stream of undead for you to shoot. It's not going to win any awards for originality, and the first few levels are perhaps a little simplistic, but as the action hots up, it becomes a frantic and very enjoyable game. Released as Shareware through Epic Marketing, the full game was given away with the One and Amiga format. It was also followed by a less enjoyable sequel in 1994. Demos of Morton Strikes Back were given away with various magazines, but if you played it at that time, you may know it instead by the name Smidge. By the time the game came out, creator David Parsons claimed to have received enough orders to pay for his first term in college. It's an enjoyable platform game with a huge number of levels to make your way through, and there are even some sections where you have to guide penguins to safety, Lemmings style. There is also an A1200 version with more colours, proper parallax scrolling backgrounds, and the option to use fire to jump instead of pushing up on the joystick. I did actually prefer the original A500 version though, and it's better than many commercially released platform games too. Microbes is a bizarre single-screen shooter that's actually quite confusing to begin with, and it's also very difficult to describe. This made it the perfect game for the Shareware model, as once you play it, you start to understand. It's another game, like Zombie Apocalypse, to come from Vision Software, and made with Blitz Basic 2. And if you like old-school arcade games, then this is an easy game to recommend. It was given away with both the One Amiga and Amiga format in 1992, and I can remember playing it constantly over the next couple of months when I first got it. Think of Breed 96 as a futuristic version of SimCity, and you wouldn't be far wrong. A demo was given away with Amiga Power and Amiga format in 1996, with a fee of $20 Australian to unlock the full version. As far as I'm concerned, the game's simplicity is its greatest strength. Nothing used to put me off playing this type of game more than having a manual the thickness of War and Peace that I had to read in order to just get started. This is incredibly easy to pick up and play, with a small selection of easy to understand icons and an advisor button that you can click on at any time if you get stuck. No manual was required. The demo may have been missing a few key features, but it was still a very easy game to lose hours playing. Hydrozone reminds me of the final level of Atari's Star Wars arcade game, where you were zooming down the trench avoiding various hazards. It's extremely fast paced and quite challenging, and it's nice that it gives you a choice of flight controls or arcade. The pumping techno soundtrack though, while initially quite fitting, did soon start to grate my ears, so it's a good job that they included an option to turn it off. The full game came with Amiga Action issue 63, and if you sent £5 to the address in the Shareware menu, you would have received all of the extra levels and bosses. You can't beat a good Sokoban style puzzler, and Push and Shove is a great one. In fact, it's probably my favourite of all the ones that I've played on the Amiga. It's not just about pushing blocks onto the right spots either. Some levels have pretty strict time limits as well, so you have to move and think fast. My only real complaint is the lack of a quick restart when you make an error. All you can do is wait for the time limit to run down before you can have another attempt. This also renders the fact that you have limited lives pretty pointless too, especially as the game has level codes. In the last video, I talked about Tanks from Gary Roberts, and how much I loved playing it against my brother. Scorched Tanks is a very similar game packed to the gills with more features, and even featuring support for up to 4 players. You can also set some of the players to computer controlled too. Although I still prefer the simplicity of Tanks, this is still a very enjoyable game with the right group of friends. You can spend your winnings between the rounds on extra weapons, and they add a nice level of strategy and variety. There are some admittedly excellent weapons among them too, although there are also some useless ones. The Skipper is my particular favourite, bouncing from one explosion to another. All you can do is experiment to see which ones you prefer. At first glance, Alien Fish Finger looks like a bog-standard platform shooter with a stupid name, but it isn't long before you realise that it's a lot more than that. Turns out it's brilliant fun to leap around the levels and mess with the in-game physics. Enemies will continuously respawn, so there's always something to shoot, and you don't have to rush through the levels. Rebounding grenades off the scenery so that they land perfectly on an enemy will always be fun. I remember getting it when it first released, but it was given away on a Coverdisks finally by Amiga Addict in issue 33. I'll put a link to their back issues page in the video description. Sometimes all it takes to make a great arcade game is to mash a couple of existing games together. Cybernetics is an excellent fusion of Asteroids and Defender that works incredibly well thanks to its tight controls, smooth gameplay and bags of style. Another game from Vision, you can also see elements of what was to become their game Overkill the following year. It constantly keeps you on your toes with the variety of enemy types and their attack patterns. I found it to be most enjoyable with an auto-fire joystick though, and I particularly liked how you don't lose power-ups when you die. Just like the best arcade games, there's a good risk versus reward element that will constantly make you want to come back and get a higher score next time.
Attack wave detected. Sector cleared. Entering sector. Attack wave detected. Attack wave detected. Sector cleared. Entering sector. Attack wave detected.
Jeff Minter is the reason that I first heard about Shareware as a concept. Almost all of the games from Alarmasoft were released this way, and the only reason that there aren't more in this video is because the Amiga conversions were regularly handled by other developers who didn't quite have that special sauce. Not so with Llamatron though, which was made by Minter himself. Essentially a version of Robotron with alpacas, in a way that only the master himself could make. The audio and visuals are an assault on the senses, and the gameplay is pure arcade joy with a perfect control method. This remains one of my favourite Amiga games ever to this day, and I placed it at number 15 in my top 100. Now where's that knighthood for Jeff Minter? So those were my favourite 10 Shareware games from Coverdisks. Like I said at the start, keep the comments coming for games that you think I should have included, and hopefully I'll get enough of them for a follow-up video. Find the link below for our Discord, where you can become part of the UK Gaming Network community and join our chats about gaming. There's also a section on there for any suggestions that you may have for games to include in any of our video series. You should also check out our VIP memberships for just £1.99 a month, and also our Patreon, where I'm trying to post more often about things that are happening with the channel. The full playlist of previous episodes should be on screen now if you have missed any. Thank you very much for watching though, and until next time, happy retro gaming everybody. Bye for now.